Are there things you could change, small things, larger things, that could really be conducive to your workflow and to your health? So important to get into the habit of letting things go. It's such a freedom kind of feeling. You feel lighter and brighter. I can focus more in here. I feel, clearer in my mind and everything. And I wanted to share all the unexpected outcomes I had, benefits and insight I now have, a little behind the scenes look into how I organise my studio and specifically my art supplies as well, and how I've learned so much over the past 6 months from actually doing this major declutter into which little bits were needed and which little bits weren't, and storage wise, which bits were absolutely life-changing, as well as the ergonomics and the self-care aspect as well. Good morning. I've just got into the studio this morning. Just let me grab my tea. Hang on a sec. Just made myself a tea and watered the plants. So cheers to you if you are having a morning drink. I have got licorice and berry tea. Very good. And I've come in really early this morning, much earlier than usual. The building's still locked, so I had to use my fob. Anyway, cut a long story short, it's the first time I've come in the studio and not needed to get some stuff done for ages. I like what seems like weeks and weeks. I've been painting away, making a load of videos, and I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of myself, if you like, so that I can have a couple of weeks off in December just to completely chill with my family. That's the plan. That's what I'm plotting. So I've actually come in today and I'm like, right, what's left to do in the studio then? So if I can just show you. I'm looking at my mess, my pickle, because I've been art journaling the past few days. I've got some new organisation solutions which are working much better for me. So I've changed a couple of things. A couple of things I've done since I started this declutter have been absolutely phenomenally life-changing. And yeah, so I just wanted to sort of catch you up on how I store my art supplies. I think I forgot to do that in the last video. And also, I've still got a few dilemmas, so I'm not quite, finished, even though I'm 99% pretty much done. And what better time to sort of show you how I store things is when I tidy up. So if you've been here a while, you will know my studio never looks perfect. I'm not pristine, aesthetic. I'm not a tidy worker. I'm quite messy, and I like my stuff out so I can see what I've got when I'm in the flow, and I can just grab, what I feel like doing. And so that creates quite a mess, especially if I've been art journaling, which I have the last week. Completely transparent, I do have a bit of a mess over there. You've seen what's going on the floor. And then my desk, which I can just zoom out. Yeah, this is my pickle that's left on my main art table. So what I'd like to do is just grab the bits and bobs and just be able to put them away. My dilemma at the moment is my art journaling supplies, which are currently, if I can just swizzle you around without making you too dizzy, currently sort of still on this trolley. There's a little bit on that trolley, but basically watercolours fit on the top and all my art journaling stuff sort of fits underneath. So all these kind of trays that are sitting on there, they do have a home. However, I may be getting rid of my trolleys, so I may need another solution for that. And then the other thing you may remember is my pencil crayons. I was storing my pencil crayons in these little hooky pots, and I think I've got about 10 of them. I always used to keep my Prismacolors, my Caran d'Ache in the trays they arrive in, and I have kept the original boxes in case I, ever move. The way these fit on the trolley, and I actually got this from Facebook Marketplace. James found it for me and it was really, really good bargain, £20. And it's an Ikea one. And she was also selling these little things and they just hook on like this. I thought, great, I can take all my pencil crayons out of my boxes and put them into colour groups. However, when they were all out, I kept knocking them and I was scared I was going to knock them over and break all the leads, and they just looked really messy, so I didn't like it. And on top of everything, I really like to have my, my things out in trays. I'll just move these over here because they are not required currently. So what I decided to do was to look for a storage solution, and I actually found this one. I'll just take these off. And this one's actually by a company called Meeden. This is a set of 10 drawers. And I also have got a set of 6 as well, which I'll show you in a minute. But I remembered in the past I'd received an offer of a sponsorship with Meeden, and I was so busy and not really taking sponsorships on. So I reached out to them again and said, would you be interested in a sponsorship? Because I really, really like your paintbrush holders, which they're currently out of stock, but they are going to send me, and also your pencil storage boxes. These are very nicely made, I have to say, because I said to them, well, send me, my specifics if this works for you. I very rarely do sponsorships, so if you've been here a while, you will know that. I think I've done 1 or 2 in my 4 years on YouTube. But this is a proper collaboration, a really authentic sponsorship, because I actually, you know, we work together to collaborate and make it happen. So that's great. So now I have this solution where I can put my pencil crayons into colour groups, and I can literally take a tray over to where I'm working, you know, depending on what colours I want. And it's absolutely perfect for me. So because they're so neat and tidy, I don't have to look at any clutter or pencil trays or anything, you know, like at the minute I've got a load of trays out from my journaling. It will take me 2 minutes to clean this up. This is the beauty of it. And I do like having things in boxes and trays because it makes things really useful, you know, to have all your items that are like for like stored together, so that works. And this, in that sense, does that as well. So thank you so much to Meaden for this collaboration. This has fixed my problem because I can have everything laid out. Everything's safe because these are expensive, let me say. The wax and oil-based pencil crayons, they're absolutely beautiful, but they are, you know, you want to keep them nice. You don't want to be dropping them on the floor and having them in a precarious position. Also, you want easy quick access as well. And the other thing I've done, which really works for me, is to keep one of my drawers pretty empty. The other thing about having all the pencil crayons is, you know, this is all quite intimidating. You've got all these blues, all these greens, all these browns, you know, which colours do you want? So I tend to go through and say, right, I want a couple of, and just have a few colours that I select. I can then take this empty tray, which then has my chosen colours in it, over to my workspace. And then, you know, at tidy up time, so this is the other thing, I keep these separate until I've kind of recorded exactly what colours and art supplies and pencils I've used for the tutorial videos I do, which are over on Patreon. And then all I do to tidy up is bring this tray over, you know, and go back to the right colour drawer. I think what I might do is label the drawers, so I might just do a colour spot on them, or little tiny brass labels or something like that would look quite cute. I haven't completely worked out where everything goes, but I can just show you my 10 drawers so you can see their colour families. I've got room to grow as well, which is lovely, and that's why I asked for the set of 10. I think they do a set of 4, a set of 6 and a set of 10, so you can have, you know, whatever sizes you need. That's the empty one, as I explained. So if I just take you over here, I'll just move my, you know, very arty X-palette tea tray. It's very practical. But yeah, I've got another little set of 6 here, which sits on in my office desk, in my office nook. So I've got a few that are empty, but I've also got, you know, some drawing pens in that one, and then drawing pencils. And then this top one has got, you know, various bits and bobs in as well, just to keep everything together and neat and tidy. And most importantly, away. Big thank you to Meaden for sponsoring this part of the video. I do have a discount code as well, which I'll leave in the description box below and the top comment as well. I'll pin it. You could have some little paint tubes and things in there as well if you wanted. They are super practical. And in fact, they also sent me a couple of other things to try. This isn't actually part of the sponsorship. They just wanted to see what I thought of some of their watercolour paints, and then also some watercolour paper, which is 100% cotton. So I'm going to try these out later for definite, because there's some really nice colours in here I'd like to try. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you about those and give you a discount code. I have found that life-changing. It's tucked everything away, and it's actually given me permission in my mind to potentially get rid of the art trolleys as well. And that, combined with these Ikea fan chests, they're the A3 ones. I looked at some of the really big you know, old architect plan chests, and I really love those, and they, you know, the ones that are kind of shabby and covered in paint and stuff. However, they would have taken up a lot of floor space. They're quite big, and, you know, particularly depth wise. So those fitted the bill perfectly, and you can go back a few videos over the last few months when I've been doing the makeover. And I got 2. That one I actually bought new, and that one I got from Facebook Marketplace, that little grey one, which I really like. And the wonderful thing about them, in, you know, especially in combination with the pencil drawers now, I'm finding, is that everything is so quick to access, and it's also really easy to tidy up. Because, you know, say for example, this is my tissue paper drawer, this is my bits and bobs collage drawer. This is basically collage at the moment. Booklets, you know, ephemera when I'm doing my journaling and collage work. Got stencils in that one, and then at the bottom, kind of some source material that I've kept, you know, from different paintings that I've printed off. So that's at the bottom of there. And then in this one, I can get down and show you, but this is my paper and finished work and part finished work. So this is my sort of bigger paper drawer at the bottom. You can see that some of the drawers are a little bit, you know, wider, so you can fit more in them as well. This one is, I think this is old work, and, you know, I've even got an old etching plate that I did a long time ago of Paris. Still got printed that somewhere. And so that's kind of old work. And then in here, again, more recent finished work. And some flowers. I have got all sorts in here. A Paul Basson study we did over on Patreon, right at the beginning when I started my Patreon. All sorts of things in there. And yeah, finished paintings that are going to make it to prints or products, stickers and things like that, or, you know, but it keeps everything flat and safe. Because I tend to work about sort of between A3 and A4 size, this works really well for me. But the best thing about it is they fitted underneath this cabinet, so it wasn't taking up any more floor space, which was, you know, really important to me. This drawer is sort of bigger life drawing and finished paintings. That was a damaged painting that I still need to fix. So James is going to make me a frame for that. Somebody dropped something from a great height on it and yeah, damaged it, and yeah, that was a long time ago. This one's all paper, so I've got all my mixed media paper, watercolour paper, and this one. A lot of it is Strathmore, not sponsored or affiliated, but you know, if ever they do want to sponsor me, I'm open to it. And this one, what's in here? Kind of sketchbooks, and I put my art journaling and all sorts in there. So I really feel like if I had another one in the middle here, I really feel like I could actually make it work really well for storing art supplies. So all my journaling supplies, which are on both trolleys at the moment, and also my watercolours and any other bits and bobs, because this needs to be cleared away. Apart from the fact I still need an extra cupboard, I think. I did talk to my patrons and said, is it greedy that I've already got 2? Do I really need 3? And they were like, no, if you need one, then it's not greedy at all. And so I'm going to have a little look on Facebook Marketplace and see what I can find for a box. So the other thing I've done, and I kind of have in progress, is my brush storage. So I've got a little teeny tiny brush holder here, which is kind of cheapy and nasty from Amazon. It really does do the job of keeping all my brushes separate. So I've been really enjoying that. And then what I did, just zoom you out again, you can see on the windowsill, I've just literally put all my paintbrushes together. They were stored over there on the wet area. I kind of wanted them nearer, so I put them on the windowsill like that with buckets and mixing bowls and all sorts of stuff that's really practical. I've kind of kept this side of the room really practical, and this side of the room is more cosy and pretty because that's my office, if that makes sense. And the other thing that Meaden are going to send me is paintbrush storage holders I have ordered from them are out of stock at the moment. So I'll show you those when they arrive, and the discount code will count for those as well. But I just like to have things stored all together, and it just makes things really easy when I want to tidy up. I always have a load of brushes as well out, and there's a load actually over there drying as well, but you know, I've got somewhere to put them by having this windowsill, and I kind of see it like, you know, they're vases of flowers equivalent, if you like. I think my most life-changing thing that I did was actually to treat myself to some electric legs. And some people have asked me, you know, what company I used. I didn't in the end go for a sponsorship. I've had people reach out to me from all sorts of companies, and I think that, you know, a lot of them are very good. Some of them are really expensive as well, so, you know, shop around for sure. But this is the same tabletop. So, and someone else asked me how big it is. It's actually 1.8 meters, and we just took the legs off, and then James attached the electric legs, so I've now got a sit stand situation, and that is, yeah, very much better for my back and my neck. And obviously everything has to work ergonomically, you know, if I'm filming. So I've got this filming arm as well, which, you know, works really well if I'm filming my desk. I've also got a new edition of this iPad holder. I got a reconditioned iPad, treated myself, for cleaning up prints and also working with source material as well, straight from the screen. And yeah, it all just works really well as a setup. And then I also got this really cute thing, which cost £10 from Facebook Marketplace. I still need to wax it. James has cleaned it up quite a lot. And it actually came with some oil paints in it, some old oil paints, just kind of cute. But this is great for my desk as well, so I can actually have, for example, my sketchbook on here, and I can work with things propped up. And if I don't want it as propped up, I can obviously go a little bit further down as well. So it really works for me. And then the other thing I tend to do if I've got something bigger, just move that to the side for a minute, is I've got a really simple solution for propping up this drawing board, which is just tuck a box under it, and that just tips it that little bit of angle for me. So these are the boxes that were, up high, and they're going back up there, don't get me wrong. It's I think my craft stuff. And I just want to go through each and every box. And I think I've been going on about this for some hair down there, from where I cut James's hair this week. Yeah, he's away at the moment. He's gone on a little trip. I just woke up really, really early. I went to bed early. I woke up early. I'm here early. And he used to go away every week for a couple of nights with work, but he hasn't been for the last few months. So I'm really used to, having him around. Anyway, yeah, this is jewellery making. I have been saying I've got my last boxes to go through, and I'm just quickly scanning. I've done those boxes at this side are packaging, so we've gone through those. I went through those with James because I end up saving all my packaging from parcels, to recycle it and reuse it. But then I end up with an absolute shed load of packaging. Yes, that's feathers, because I used to do feather jewellery. What the heck is in this one? I do not know. Little seat pads that have come apart. Well, that one has anyway, so I need to review those. And then some Christmas lights. It's all, messy, so I need to sort that out. So obviously things have been in there too long. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'll just sit down and talk to you. So after I've done my boxes, what I was thinking is that I would really like to just do the finishing bits and bobs in here. Fine tune where certain things go. I have things like a pair of step ladders and some tripods and my trolleys, and I think I talked about that in the last video. Trolley dilemma. They are useful, but they get in the way. So yeah, and I need to maybe tidy up from my journaling stuff from yesterday because I made quite a lot of mess. It's quite easy for me to tidy up now because everything's got a place. I've got 2 videos to edit for Patreon for early December, so I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with those. So I've got the art journaling video, which I'm really excited about because we're going to finish the handmade journal. I know, it's taken me a few years, but this is the page for the next art journaling video, sat with little Angel. And then I'm going to collate all the book together and the 2 signatures and the cover and just finalise it. So I'll give you a tour of that, probably in early January, because I've got some new plans and new directions where I feel like my journaling journey wants to lead me next. So yeah, there's certain things in here that I've really enjoyed, and there's certainly things in here that I've really struggled with. It's been a journey making this book. You may have noticed, but I'm not one to whiz through sketchbooks, and so my sketchbooks and art journals tend to be with me and become old friends because, a year or 2 or 3 or more. I don't rush these things, Anyway, and I'm not criticising anyone, if you want to fill a load of journals with ideas, that works for you. You do your own thing. It doesn't work for me. I like to take my time with these things, and I kind of ebb and flow as well. So when I'm flowing, I really flow, like this past week, and then the week before it was in my sketchbooks. So I've kind of flipped between the two because I love that. And this is much more, even though it's creative and arty, it's much more of a personal journey. So, and I do monthly videos on my Patreon for that. So if you're interested in the art journaling, you want to check out pockets tier, the £5 a month pockets tier, and then there's a new video every month, and then lots and lots of videos because I've been doing it for about 4 years. I'm going to get started. I'm going to have my tea, and I think I'm going to face that messy box because I need to put stuff in the bin, don't I? To find my glasses today, so I've got my studio glasses, and these are sort of super magnified, so I shouldn't be wearing them all the time. They're just for, you know, my artwork. Anyway, that was all pretty easy and straightforward. I've still got one teeny tiny box of old jewellery to go through, so whether I want to dismantle it to create new jewellery was kind of what I had, you know, in mind, because I don't really wear a lot of jewellery these days. I used to wear lots of jingle jangles, but now I just can't be bothered because it's too much fuss, you know. I guess the only other thing to show you is this little condiment shelf here, which is inks, and it is my oil painting condiments, if you like, so special jars, and also the odour-free thinners that I use as well. I recycle it all, so it's all kind of goes on over there. And then I've got my paint pegboard, which James made from scratch, which you've probably seen if you've been here a while. And then I've also got a little box which, let me just move in closer, hang on a sec. Yeah, that just houses all my oil paints as well to keep those more horizontal, but I can still see because they're in sort of colour groups, and then some bits and bobs that I use and need there. And this is all now, this counter here, which is kind of my big easel. It's pretty organised. I've got my palette, some brushes, bits and bobs. That's my wax ready to wax my little table easel. And I've got places to dry my brushes and jars and that kind of thing, which is really handy. And then obviously if I want to do some larger work, just zoom you out a bit, if I want to do some larger work, I can, you know, quite easily just clear that, and I've got space for a bigger canvas to prop up as well. I might as well just show you the current state of the trolley as well. So on the top I have basically my watercolours, my gouache is in there. I've also got some tapes and my very small collection of Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2s. I'm very mixed about those, so yeah, if you're on my Patreon you'll know how I feel about those. And then the next layer down I've got all my paint pens pretty much, acrylic markers, there's some alcohol pens as well, but it's mainly paint pens. And then at the bottom there's more my journaling supplies with my stamps and more alcohol markers, etc. So that could all quite easily fit in one of those Alex drawers, couldn't it? That's my little jewellery box that I just need to go through, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those little pots, so I might let those go when I let the trolley go. I think, you know, if you are working for longer periods of time, you do have to get the ergonomics right and think about, you know, I'm all about self-care here. So that has extended my work time. I've got a lot more done because I'm more comfortable and I'm not achy and, you know, in pain with my neck and my shoulders and that kind of thing. So it really is worthwhile, you know, investing in ourselves to get ourselves, you know, as comfortably as we can possibly be. And also, you know, spend money wisely. You know, some of the stuff I've got from Facebook Marketplace, some of it's secondhand, some of it's, you know, really old, like this little table easel. And my drawing board I inherited from James. I've bought certain things new. You know, I've got certain tech kit that I need for my job. I want a certain quality when I'm filming my art tutorials, for example, and I don't want the table wobble. So I invested in that setup, if you like. So, you know, we have to spend our money wisely at the moment, don't we? I have procrastinated the decision of whether to switch to an electric sit-stand desk here, but I'm so glad I did now. So if you've been pondering on some tweaks and you've been hesitating, and, you know, if you can afford it or find it secondhand, there are a lot of these electric desks secondhand now because they're all over the place. So we actually have one in the shop as well, which we were gifted, and it's absolutely brilliant. So are there things you could change, small things or larger things, that could really be conducive to your workflow and to your health? There are definitely budget options out there. You know, secondhand Facebook Marketplace is always a good go-to, which is where I'll be getting my other Ikea Alex drawers from, for definite. I'm not in a rush and I want a bargain, yes. I just want to say something as well. I absolutely know how fortunate I am to have such a beautiful, wonderful space. And, you know, also let you know, I just put my chair a bit lower, that, you know, it hasn't always been this way. You know, I have created in a corner of a room, I've created on a bed in a van, or a dinette in a van where I've had to put everything away after every session. I know what it's like to work in a small space. I had a home studio when James and I did own a house about sort of 12, 13 years ago. I had a spare bedroom and that was wonderful, but it wasn't, you know, as wonderful as this, with the skylight and the kind of atmosphere that comes with an old factory building. It's an absolute dream, this room. And the other thing, when I first came to this building, I was in a communal studio. After a couple of years, I put my name down for a private room, and there's not many private rooms in the building, and I knew I wanted to stay, so I waited. You know, eventually I got another smaller room, so if you've been here a while, you will know I had a little corner office, which was so cute. It got really, really hot in the summer though, because it was kind of like twin aspect with the windows. It didn't have opening windows. I just had the roof light that opened, so it was quite difficult to manage the temperature. And being a lady of a certain age, I was also going through menopause at that time, so it was fairly challenging. But then this room came up, and it did used to house an artist, a very well-loved fellow in here, and so I inherited it. And they said, you know, we'd really like another artist to have the room, and I had had my name down on it for ages, so that's how I ended up here. I'm also at the point in my artist career as well where I really do need a bigger space. You know, I do a lot of admin and editing, and there's the business side of things. I've got to do all my finances and edit videos for you and edit videos for the Patreon and things like that, although James does help me edit the Patreon videos when he can. So I really appreciate and needed an office space where I can put my laptop safely away from all the buckets of water and terps and that kind of thing from over there, and I needed this separate space. And I also really like having a really comfy, you know, sitting corner as well. It's really wonderful, as well as, you know, all that space over there in the studio part. And then the part of the studio that I don't think I've really shown on here, which is just kind of the entrance square, really. It's not very big, but it's where we house our shop. And James has built a load of cardboard king. If you've been here a while, you'll have seen him building all these cardboard little cubbies for our postcards and stickers and prints and stuff for the shop. So we're going to make over and overhaul the shop and do some major tweaks in there actually as well. I'll say major tweaks because we are going to change a few big things, but it is going to be tweaking what we've currently got. But just to optimize each zone, the most important space for me is obviously, you know, the art studio part, and that's working really well for me. And as I've just said, I need an office space and a shop space as well. So having all of that stored in one room is absolutely amazing. It's literally a dream come true. And it's also really needed. I think there's that phrase, isn't there? Need, not greed. This room has really made my dreams come true and ticked all my boxes to help me establish and grow my small business. And of course, the heart of that is the artwork. So I need to be a happy painter in order to, you know, grow as an artist, which is, you know, the heart of my business. And so the table, sit stand, all the ergonomics and all the hard work in here has truly paid off. And we've recently just had Thanksgiving in the US, and I know a lot of you celebrate that. And I try to keep in a state of gratitude at least once or twice a day. And so, yes, I'm really grateful for this space, for this room. I'm really grateful for Wendy and James of the past for working so hard to get it so tickety-boo. I'm really grateful for all my stuff. You know, I've got some really nice art supplies. I've got everything basically that I could ever need or want in here as a mixed media artist. So before I go home today, I would just like to swatch out and test out those watercolours and the watercolour paper from Meaden. Let's have a look together and see what we think. Yes. And maybe you've already tried them, so you can let us know how you've got on as well in the comments.
So I've taken to my desk. I've got myself a bucket of water and some kitchen paper, as well as a lovely parcel from Meaden. So let's just open up this paper. So this is the watercolour pad, and it's 10 by 7 inches and it's 20 sheets, 300 GSM. It's 100% cotton and acid free, so I'm really looking forward to this paper. It's cold press and it's actually a block, so you don't have to stretch it, in other words. So here is the little thing where you open. If you've not tried a block before, they're great. It's kind of glued down for you, and then you can take each page off. Let me show you how. The best way to do it is to actually grab a palette knife and then just zoom you in a little bit. You can see where there's like a little gap, and you just go in with one layer, and then you can take off the top. So this is obviously protective sheet, and then you've got the paper. So these are the set of 24 watercolour paints. And the other thing I forgot to mention is they also sent me this ceramic palette, which is quite a weight to it actually. It's lovely and sturdy. It's got 17 little wells and then 2 bigger mixing wells as well. I'm not going to use that to swatch these paints out though, because I've got my Daniel Smiths and my Schminkers in here. So I'm going to keep that because I will be using those little bits and bobs up. Let's just do pulling it with water as well, just to see how it looks when it's diluted. So far they are looking nicely pigmented and the paper is reacting really well. So I've just taken out my blank one and then slide that in. Perfect. Oh, we like lots of options, don't we? Easy, tidy, definitely. Well, I will let you know how I get on, but that is the colours for now. And we can put that over there with our other colour swatches. It's really good and so important to get into the habit of letting things go. It's like, it's such a freedom kind of feeling. You feel lighter and brighter. I can focus more in here. I feel, clearer in my mind and everything. And if we, maybe we love something or we really like something, like I really like that trolley, but it's no longer useful for me and it could be really useful for someone else. And if I was in a situation, in the future where I really needed that again, I have to trust that it will, come back into, when and if I needed it. So the letting go of the things that you don't need right now, I think that's really important. If it's not seasonal and you don't foresee yourself, you using it and needing it, just let it go. Clear your spaces, clear your head, just to feel so light and free, especially in a creative space. I have had a challenge because I am messy and like I said, I like my stuff out. So it's been, a little bit of resistance from me at times about it. But now I'm there and now I've done it and put the work in, and it's been ups and downs. There's been blood, sweat and tears, believe me. But I really encourage you to clear a drawer, a corner, a box, a shelf or a room, wherever you're at in your energy levels as well, because it can be very exhausting doing all the micro decisions. You get, decisioned out, decision fatigue as we call it. In the process of going through my final boxes, I've also found an extra set of lights. So I'm going to find a spot for those and put them up, because I like to have those up, especially in the winter. You come in the morning and sometimes you have those grey, dark, dank mornings and it can feel a bit depressing. So anything to lift the spirits. And I do think having these little bright lights, they just lift my spirits, And because I've increased my creative stamina time, if you like, I can create for longer periods of time because I'm more comfortable. I stay in the studio longer. So I've been staying in the studio probably about 5 or 6 hours a day at the moment and creating in that time and utterly loving it. But of course the winter's drawing in here in England and the lights goes at about 4:30 now. So having the little lights on, it helps, keeps me cozy. I think my absolute favourite thing is when it's raining in here and I hear it pounding on the skylight, and then have my cozy lights on as well. Yes. That's off and on. Yes, much better. See, my happy lights.
And I hope you've enjoyed the video, and a little catch up and a little behind the scenes look into how I organise my studio and specifically my art supplies as well, and how I've learned so much over the past 6 months from actually doing this major declutter. I wish you well on your decluttering, tidying up, cleaning up, organisation journey, wherever you're at and whichever room or category you're doing. I think I'm going to be doing my wardrobe and my clothing next. Yes, I know I already did that a few months ago and there is a video up about it, but I think if I'm really honest with you, and I can be honest with you in here, can't I think I need to do it again. Yes. So as always, thank you so much for keeping me company and watching the video. That really helps me a lot. Try to keep your lights shining bright, and I will see you really, really soon in the next video. Loads of love and bye for now.